How many cases you guys had?
Maybe 1,000.
They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
I was away last week keeping my long-lost brother Gary out of prison again, so I missed some really exciting new horror movie trailers that dropped. Maybe you did as well. In which case, we're going to talk about 3 of the most exciting ones from just the past couple of weeks. Let's get into it! The trailer for a new Neon movie dropped last week titled Together. This looks so nasty and juicy, I am loving what I'm seeing so far. The first feature film from writer-director Michael Shanks is a body horror romance that follows a couple moving to the countryside. Tim and Millie here are respectively played by real-life married couple Dave Franco and Allison Brie. Deep in the woods, they have a supernatural encounter that starts to transform their love, their lives, and their flesh. We get to see instances of the aforementioned body horror in the trailer, where the struggling couple go to kiss and their lips start to fuse together. Millie is seen meeting with a therapist character named Jamie, talking about how the couple hasn't been on the same page since the move, and she fears they've become complacent. Jamie suggests that maybe that complacency is just harmony, which is absolutely our first taste at some of the codependency themes this one is going to offer. I'm already sold on the concept, but there's still so many mysterious things about this trailer. Tim and Millie can be seen at separate times, literally flying towards each other as if something is trying to merge these two characters together. Maybe this breathing cave has something to do with it, or maybe this spooky looking cult on an old VHS tape doing a blood ritual. Sounds like what my long lost brother Gary was getting into this past week. Whatever is literally happening here, it seems like this one is going to have a lot to say about relationships and the horror that can stem from them. Obviously, these two are going to fuse together at one point, hence the money shot at the end of the trailer.
Whiskey for the pain.
But speculating on the characters for a moment, it seems like Tim is the one creating the problem in this relationship. Maybe he's relying on Millie just a bit too much. An early guess I have about this flick is that it's mostly going to follow Millie, but will also show how Tim has to overcome whatever issues he may have to fully provide for his partner. I think Michael Shanks is just telling that romantic story with a splash of gratuitous flesh fusing. It's like if David Cronenberg directed The Notebook. It's something all of us horror fans have always wanted to see. Who is that person? Is there someone actually out there who wants that movie? I don't know. Considering the early and very positive buzz this one got from its festival run, Together is not one that horror fans want to miss. I've already heard a lot of great things about it, and I also really dig that there's a couple that loves horror at the face of it. Dave Franco directed Allison Brie in the 2020 thriller The Rental. That's pretty cool. Check out Together, dropping on July 30th. Oh boy, I am crazy late to the party on this one, but wow, Weapons looks like it might be horror film of the year, and I'm not just saying that because of the intriguing trailer. Weapons comes from up-and-coming horror maestro Zach Cregger, who made one of my favorite horror films of the decade, Barbarian. It's one of the only movies I've reviewed for this page where I bought a ticket to the next showing after I already saw it. I needed to see this one again. It ripped my damn face off, and there is still no physical release for this one. Someone please do something about that. This movie came out almost 3 effing years ago. I need it on that shelf.
I need it!
It also has one of the most stacked casts for a horror film this year, including Julia Gardner from The Wolfman, Thanos himself, Josh Brolin, not Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, and Doctor Strange's sidekick, Benedict Wong. Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian himself, was supposed to be in this one, but unfortunately could not due to a scheduling conflict. But no worries, horror fans, we're still gonna see Pedro in a horror film this year in Ari Aster's new Nightmare, Eddington.
Continue leading our town and fighting the pandemic.
And if you needed another reason to be excited for Weapons, they've created a really interesting website to market this movie. It works as an ARG for the film that may just give us clues on what is really happening in the town of Maybrook. There's even a Barbarian Easter egg that explains some stuff that happens after the crazy climax of that film. That is so cool. Is this the start of the Zach Cregger extended universe? Potentially. The marketing is on point for this film, which tells me the studio has a lot of faith in it. Whatever this Magnolia-inspired horror film ends up being, though, clearly it's a big one. Jordan Peele allegedly fired his manager after not winning the bidding war for this flick. Wow, Weapons is a hot ticket, baby. All right, enough sucking on Weapons, dick. Let's talk a little little bit about this one. The plot description reads, when all but one child from the same classroom mysteriously vanishes on the same night at exactly the same time, 2:17 a.m., a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. This reminds me a lot of the story of the Pied Piper, which, if you need a refresher, essentially it's about a piper who is hired to lure a bunch of rats out of a city, and after doing so by playing his pipe, the mayor refuses to pay him. In an act of revenge, the piper then plays a tune that lures away all of the children and they disappear forever. The end. Based on some of the mysterious happenings in the trailer, it seems like this might be a more modern and twisted version of the same tale. We literally see the children racing after someone, jumping through windows and shit. I don't have children, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say this isn't normal behavior. Something seems to be controlling them, or they're in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where everybody jumps out of a window. There's also this lady who's stabbing herself in the face with a fork, and this dude getting a bunch of black goo thrown up on him. So it's really anybody's guess as to what's going on. Another thing I wanted to note is that I'm really intrigued by the town's reaction to Julia Garner's character, Justine Gandy. This is, of course, the teacher who finds almost all of her students missing that fateful Wednesday morning. Josh Brolin's character, who is the father of one of the missing children, is seen accusing her of being behind it. This reminds me a lot of the same reactions that Alex Browning got after having the premonition and saving everybody at the beginning of Final Destination. Without any logical explanation there, the conspiracy theories start to come, and brings the worst out in people. It even seems like Justine loses her job over this, something that was totally out of her control seemingly, as we see in this meeting between her and the principal, played by Benedict Wong. It's okay, Justine, my long-lost brother Gary can't get within 500 feet of a school anymore either. So what the hell is happening here? My theory as of right now is that someone, not naming any names, but maybe this long legs looking motherfucker in the trailer, somehow has a supernatural ability that allows them to control people. Not just kids, I said people, baby. If you noticed in the trailer, there are tons of people running like those damn kids with their arms out. Like this. It's way too consistent between so many of the characters in the trailer here, someone has to be controlling them. There's also a hint of the occult in this trailer, so I'm definitely banking on some Paranormal Activity bullshit. Weapons has to be one of the most highly anticipated horror films of the year, and I cannot wait to see it on August 8th, only a week after Together comes out, fun fact. On a personal note too, I'm really excited to make the review video for this one because I think it's going to be the first video I make on my new set after I move here. So stay tuned for a new Killjoy Jake set coming up soon. Man, I really thought we would go 3 for 3 with the trailers here, but I am just not loving what I'm seeing in The Conjuring Last Rites. Described as the final case that paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on, the film looks like it's just playing the hits from the series again. In typical Conjuring fashion, we get to see all of the scary objects from the previous movies, with a big focus on the Crooked Man toy, though, I do want to point out. Us Conjuring fans never got that Crooked Man spin-off film, but maybe, just maybe, the Crooked Man will once again have a presence in this flick here. Look, if you're gonna play the hits like this, at least play the ones that don't get as much airtime. I think I speak for most of us when I say we're all sick of The Nun. There's a lot of weird things I could point out about the trailer, like how there's yet another actress playing Judy Warren and whatever this thing is, but the whole movie just feels like it's doing Annabelle Comes Home again. I know there's a new case that Ed and Lorraine are going to get into this time around, the Smurl family or whatever, but it feels like the subtitle Endgame would suit this movie better than Last Rites. This film is just marketing itself as this epic final chapter to phase 1 of the Conjuring universe or whatever, but to me it just feels like The Conjuring has forgotten one of its biggest strengths, and that's its simplicity. I don't need Lorraine Warren to have superpowers. I also don't need 100 generic Instagram-looking blender monsters coming after me. To make a good Conjuring film, you just gotta have a decent ghost story with some jump scares and call it a day. Why does this look so overly complicated and ridiculous like The Conjuring 3? Didn't they learn not to do that after the first time around? I know Gary didn't. This just looks like a heightened version of everything wrong with the most recent Conjuring installments, and I'm just yearning for the more simplistic days of the original film, The Conjuring 2, or maybe even Annabelle Creation. Man, I love all 3 of those films so much. The Conjuring Last Rites drops on September 5th of this year, just in time for spooky season. Before we wrap up this update video, please make sure to subscribe to this channel for more horror movie updates, trailer breakdowns, and reviews. I'd greatly appreciate your support. Also, go check out my horror gaming channel, GullGotha, where we're currently streaming a bunch of spooky games. We'll be live Tuesday and Saturday nights. Stop on by and help us get to 1,000 subs. We're almost there, baby. So which of these 3 upcoming horror releases are you the most excited for? Let me know about it down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching. Please subscribe. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.